Greetings, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Welcome back to my Astroneer series. Today we're going to resume our journeys in this beautiful of all places, Silver. We are actually making preparations to visit Silver's moon, and we're going to take a few odds and ends with us to help us as part of setting up just a very basic base on Silver's moon. So we're going to take some supplies for some tethers. We've got our shelter and a little bit of power, and that's basically it. You don't need a hell of a lot when you go to the moon. The moons in general are quite small, and there's usually enough resources to build whatever it is that you want to build once you get there. So other than a few exceptions here and there in terms of the availability of specific materials, for the most part, you'll either get used to it or you won't care because you'll just come back specially to get whatever it is that you forgot to take with you. So with all of that out of the way, I will suggest it's probably a good idea if you strap in. Put on your favourite of all Astroneer style spacesuits and yeah, get ready to learn some more very interesting things. As I alluded to in previous episodes, it literally isn't rocket science getting from one planet to another. Essentially, you just jump in your rocket, make sure it's got enough fuel, and you just press V to take off to an orbit where you're going to be traveling to another planet. Physically select that planet in the, or moon for that matter, in the heavens, and it will fly you there. Once you're in orbit, you just need to find one of these white glowy dome looking places that meets your fancy. Click on it and you will commence landing there. So at this stage, I'm looking for what is closest to that eyeball looking thing, because that is something that we're going to want to investigate as part of one of our missions. So it kind of makes sense to get as close to it as we can. When you're landing on the moons, being in proximity to gateways and things like that is not that relevant, to be honest. I mean, you can do that if you want to, but the moons only have two gateways, and the moons themselves are relatively tiny compared to the main planets. So getting around, minor spoiler for what's going to happen next episode, but getting around on these moons is pretty much trivial. It does not take very much effort at all to do a lap of one of these moons. So yeah, don't get too worried about your landing location. If something looks good to you, hey, it'll work. Anyway, first mission of the day is to get out and about, have a bit of a look, and we are most likely going to want a few basic supplies as part of setting up our base. For the most part, at this stage, it's pretty much just resin and compound, and so we're just doing a bit of a scout around here to see where the nearest sources of that are, and we have located some compound here on a ridge, actually not far from the base. So we're going to make our way over there and steal a bit of that for our own usage. Now, we are also here to scan the galastropod shells, which are native to Desolo. That's the name of the moon. We only had to get 5 of them, and as you can see, they were actually populated on our compass, so not very difficult to locate at all. And with the colour of them, they do stand out quite well against the background. We're just having a bit of a look at what our next steps are, and then yeah, we've got to get our terrarium and all that other good stuff like we did with the silver galastropod. Now, we can't really do that here because we don't have a landing pad where we can actually hand that mission in. So to get the next step, we're going to be going back to our base on silver anyway. So I already knew that that was going to be a thing. So I pretty much just decided to do this step and then see what else I can get done while I'm here. So we are going to do a little bit more exploring. The other thing that we want to get while we're here is some wolframite. Now that's the ore that can be smelted into tungsten. We already have a mission to get some. You've got a choice of going to Calidor or going to Desolo. It's an ore that's available in both locations. We've gone to Desolo because that's, the next logical place to go. It's only a moon of silver and quite easy to get to. Now, we've gone out to this point of interest, and we've found something very useful at this point of interest. We found some dynamite, and we found a exocache. Now, the two of those put together, you're going to find out, is quite a handy thing to do. So we're going to make that happen here in a moment. Because dynamite is really the only effective way of opening one of these exocaches. I know it says it's a vehicle data recorder, but the exocaches are exactly the same as this. So, like the little shrinker packager thing, you just sort of stick it to the outside of it. There's no light on the dynamite, so it just sticks, and that's how you know it's on there. Once you've got it stuck to it, just like that, you just have to hold your interact button and it starts the very short timer, and you're going to want to run away a little bit because the explosion is kind of big and it generally hurts quite a lot if you get hit by it. So yeah, definitely don't get hit by the explosion. That would be my worldly advice. As you can see, there's a lot of debris that comes out of blowing up one of those caches, but you also get a chip, and the chip is very useful for quite a few things. I'll expand on that more in a future episode. Suffice to say, if you find any exo chips, keep them. You will use most of them, if not all of them. Now that we've crossed that little objective off, we now need to go looking for tungsten, or wolframite, I should say, so that we can smelt it into tungsten. Now, wolframite on Desolo is usually not on the surface. You do normally need to go into the caves. You usually don't have to go a long way. We should be able to find some within the first significant layer in the cave system. So that's where we're heading now. And as I alluded to in previous episodes about the layers looking somewhat different from celestial body to celestial body, this is a great example of that. The cave system under Desolo, at least on this level, is a lot more open looking and it's a lot flatter. Like, it's not lumpy, it doesn't have 50 million stalactites and stalagmites everywhere. It's actually quite open and a lot easier to navigate. Actually, probably wouldn't be too difficult to get a buggy going down here. Might make a mental note to do that in a future episode, but for now, we'll just settle for a bit of wolframite. Let's see what we can find. All right. Yeah, that's a chess piece. Uh, don't ask. I'm gonna probably try and complete it. It's gonna depend on how annoying some of the pieces are. I've tried on two separate playthroughs to have the patience to collect all of the pieces and see what the whole thing looks like when it's done. Minor spoiler, or not really a spoiler, I haven't succeeded so far. So I don't think I'm going to deliberately go out of my way to try and complete the chess set. I'm going to keep an eye out for the pieces though. If I get, I will say, more than 50% of the pieces, I'll start focusing more intently on getting the rest of it. But if I don't, happen by enough of the pieces by default, I'm not going to go looking for them. It means they're just as rare and as annoying as they always have been. And I got better things to do with my time than run around all the planets endlessly looking for the chess pieces, only to constantly miss one or two of them at the end. So, yeah, anyway. If you've played Astroneer before and you have been successful with completing the entire chess set, feel free to leave a comment down below and let me know, any hints or tips or tricks that you might have for doing that. Don't spoil if there's something special that comes out of completing it. Don't tell me that. Just give me some hints that you had or strategies that you had for locating all of the pieces the way you did. In the meantime, we picked up a bit of science, but then we found this very rich wolframite vein. So that was fantastic. So now that we've gathered our wolframite, we are going to run back upstairs, drop this off. We'll take a bit of science with us. And because we've found quite a few, researchable items there, rather than, wasting graphite on packaging them to take them back to Silver for research, I think it's going to be more efficient if I just set up a research station up here. So that is, in fact, what I'm going to end up doing. All right. Well, you've seen me, make printers and spit out platforms before, so I've elected to cut that bit of footage. The episode was already a bit on the long side, so I thought, I think we can skip that bit. So we cranked out a small printer and a medium printer, and we've cranked out two of these large platforms. And then we are going to spit out a smelting furnace. And then we're going to spit out a research chamber to get things happening. All right, we're going to do a little bit more exploring, including going down into some deeper layers here to see what other little tidbits and treasures we can find. Ooh, this is a big cavern. Wonder what interesting things we can find in here. We're also noticing that we're encountering slightly harder rock as well, so we're definitely getting down quite deep in this little moon here. And we can find, we got some more spherolite there. We can see not a hell of a lot in the distance out that way. Let's have a bit of a look out this way and see what we can find. Some more of that harder rock. If we're not in the mantle already, I'd say we're getting pretty close to it. Alrighty, we found some lovely bright blue ammonia. We don't need any of that at the moment, but the this little fella over here, we're going to need some of that because I believe our research chamber requires some aluminium. So we're going to need to mine at least one whole nugget worth of whatever this stuff is, which I've completely forgotten. Yeah, don't get old. Yeah, laterite. That's the word I was going for. Yes, we need some laterite. Yeah, we can get it back on silver, but any that we can get here without having to make a special trip is always a good thing. So we've dug up a bunch of that, and yeah, look, is that the absolute bare minimum that I was hoping to find down here? Yeah, pretty much. A bit disappointed I didn't come across a bit more technology or something else that might have been useful down here, but it does seem pretty barren for anything like that. So, don't know how that bodes for our future explorations of the depths of Desolo, but stay tuned in future episodes for that. We'll see how well we get on when it comes time to go to the core of Desolo. I haven't actually done it yet. I am sort of a couple of episodes ahead fairly consistently. But at the moment, I've only got this episode and I've already recorded and edited episode 9. We didn't actually go to the core in that one either. It might be episode 10 before I get around to doing that. I need to work out what order I'm actually going to be doing things in. So we're back on the surface now. We've got our smelting furnace, and we can move on to getting our research chamber underway. But before we do that, we'll get some more things smelting. And there we go. Oh, I ended up accidentally mining a bit of ammonia down there anyway. Oh, bit of a bonus. Ah, I didn't think I needed aluminium for the research chamber. Can't remember why I mined that now. Oh, I know why I mined it. But we'll get to that next episode. Yeah, we're just going to get this research chamber set up. We are going to look at anything else that might be tempting. At this stage, once I take that RTG away, the only power that we will have here is the half unit of power that comes from the habitat, which is really not very much. It will keep a researcher going, indefinitely, so to speak, but only at a very slow rate. It may be just that that's what we do, but for the moment we are allowing our RTG to supplement the power while we're here. Once we leave, though, we're definitely going to take that one with us. The RTGs are just far too useful to leave them behind willy-nilly at this stage. We will get to a point where we can make them, but that point is a long way away. Anyway, we are here. We are printing off our RTG. Not our RTG. God, I've got words going everywhere in my brain except in the right direction. You can't half tell that I'm recording this after a full day at work, can you? Anyway, we're printing off our research chamber. It's nearly done. The fact that we're smelting at the same time is probably really not helping matters. But doesn't matter. I'm just going to stand here and watch this until it comes out. In the meantime, we are cranking out another mission. So we smelted some tungsten, and that ticked that one off. We won't be able to hand it in until we get back to our launch platform back on silver, but we're not too worried about that at this stage. We will have quite a few boxes to tick off once we get back to base. For the moment, we're just doing what we can while we're waiting for our research chamber. Now that that's done, we are going to get it cranking, and we're going to have 2 samples queued up for it to chew on with the half a unit of power that it's going to have once I take the RTG away. One of these research samples is literally going to take hours to complete. So those 3 units, even if I didn't come back here for a week, they would probably not be completely finished. So yes, I'm only going to get a very slow rate of bites, but honestly, it doesn't bother me. It's just free science at this stage. So we're going to load up a few odds and ends here. We need the daggerroot seeds because one of those goes in the terrarium to feed the little critter, and I'm taking the other one just to feed it later if I need to. We're taking some wolframite with us to smelt back on silver, and we're taking a few other odds and ends with us along the way. And lastly, we're grabbing our RTG because, like I said, it's a bit too valuable to me to be leaving it behind to power my research setup. Quick check that we haven't left anything behind. Oh, we have left something behind. Yep, I looked at it right then and it didn't occur to me that I don't have the chips. I'm literally about to get in the shuttle and my brain goes, nope, you're missing something. What am I missing? That's right, I'm missing the exo chip. I want to take that with me. I'm not going to leave that behind. Alright, now that we are fully loaded up and we haven't forgotten anything, ominous foreboding there for a future episode, we are heading back to Silver to return to our main base. I wonder how hard that could be. Okay, we can see there's a landing pad there that we've selected. And is that back at... Oh. Okay, Dorothy, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. This is not our home base. It is, however, a landing pad, which is why it showed up as one when we were in orbit. As you can see, our rocket engine is now completely expended, so it's not like we can take off and land or try landing somewhere else. We're pretty much got ourselves and our 2 feet. However, we do have the good fortune of having a gravity globe. Now, anyone who's been watching my Glitchwalkers series will know what a blessing the gravity globes are. For those who haven't been watching it, yeah, the gravity globe is a very neat bit of transport, which we will make use of here in a moment. I don't know why I'm eyeballing all of this beautiful and amazing stuff that's here, including some explosives, when I know full well that my backpack is already full. So I guess we're just taking mental stock of what's here to prioritize how soon we should come back to get all of the sexy stuff that's here. Long story short, probably the only thing I really, really want to come back for is that explosives. But it's not a massive priority at the moment. So we're just going to leave it all here. It's not going to go anywhere. We've got our rocket ship marking the location, so getting back here is not going to be difficult. In the meantime, we are going to hop in our newly acquired gravity globe, and we are going to head back to base. And we have a marker on our compass to tell us what direction to go in. So here we go. Pedal to the metal. Yeah, that's a bit of an annoying sound artifact. I actually got stuck there on that bush. Luckily, I had the gravity globe close enough that I could just jump into the seat of it, and that got me unstuck. That is a very unpleasant problem, which actually caused me to minorly rage quit one of my previous playthroughs because there was a glitch on the ground, and it was probably caused by me because of terrain leveling. If you're building the terrain up to level it, doesn't seem to be a problem. If you're creating level terrain through higher terrain, and then you're not very efficient about clearing out the higher terrain that wasn't knocked away in the leveling process, that's where you can get these little glitches where you can get stuck. And yeah, that apparently was one of them. So I kind of thought that they'd fixed it, but yeah, apparently not. But anyway, just an FYI, build up when you're leveling, don't sort of dig in when you're leveling. Not unless you're sort of drilling a tunnel kind of thing. When it's on the surface, it can get quite glitchy sometimes. So that's my little public service announcement. But that sound glitch that we were having was as a direct result of that. Anyway, we made it back to base safely. We're unloading all of our lovely loot, including our exochip. We're just tidying up a couple of loose ends here. We handed in all of our missions. And now we have to go and lure the Desolo variant of the gastropod. Now, obviously, we're not on Desolo, so the minute I try and attach the horn to it, nothing's going to happen, and it's going to give me an error to say I'm not on Desolo. Yeah, I was just testing a supposition there. I'm smart enough to know I'm not on Desolo. Or am I? All right. At that minor piece of disappointment or obvious piece of disappointment, depending on your perspective, we have reached the end of the episode. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and to consider subscribing if you are not already subscribed. Until next time, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Thank you very much for watching, and make sure you have yourself an absolutely fantastic day.